Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Wednesday's edition of Pre-Market Info.
We've got a little sell-off. We're down a buck here, but it's been pretty quiet overnight here ahead of the Fed minutes at 2 o'clock. Just a tight 7-point range. The high 1648 and a quarter, the low 1641 and a quarter. Joel, what numbers should we look out for here today?
There's a lot of resistance levels here. The 49 high that we hit yesterday matched the high from June 19th. 48 and a quarter in the pre-market, so that's going to be a huge level on the upside to keep an eye on. And we can go over some of the other stocks in the Big Ten that are hitting some major resistance levels too later in the show.
Let's take a look at crude though, because crude just continues to rally here. It's up another buck this morning. Just doesn't seem to derail. Doesn't matter if the market's going down or up. Just crude has just been marching. Made a new high there yesterday on the move, up at 105.33. Trading 105.13 right now. Actually, that's a new high this morning. Trading 105.12. So crude here continues to outperform, and it's been, look at that, like last 10 trading sessions. It's just kind of marching straight up.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to affect the market at all. I mean, I guess it's good for the oil stocks, but boy, just keeping an eye. I mean, the high has been 105.33, big range on that. Just no stopping this crude market.
May as well take a look at the gold futures here too, because we're approaching a key number that you had talked about yesterday on the show, that whole 1260 area. We're trading at 1256 right now, so gold is trading up about $9 here. We've now come almost 80 points off the lows that we set there 8 days ago. So the gold bug's back here. We're going to be able to get above that 1260 and continue this run, or do you see more consolidation ahead?
I think the gold traders have been listening to pre-market info, Dennis. Four of the last five highs between 1257.10 and 1259.30.
Whoa.
So we're calling that whole 1260 area major resistance. You get above there. I think you got room to run up to the 1267 level, but this is looking eerily similar to the other consolidations in gold before you come in the morning. It's down 100 bucks.
Yeah, I know. It just seems to happen. Interesting that Newmont, if you bring up the chart, NEM yesterday actually did make new lows on the move. So not participating in this 80-point rally. Newmont actually just sitting just off its lows, made a new low on the move at 26.58. Maybe it's playing catch up because Barrick's been absolutely murdered and the Newmont hasn't been murdered nearly as much. So not sure if that's a sign of things to come, or if that Newmont's going to, be that little fake breakdown there. We call them a
Yeah.
fake down, and then
Yeah.
maybe reverse here today and start to rally.
You did crack the 26.97, which was the low of the move, and 27 the day after that. So shook out all the traders that were using the 27 stop, and then we got back above there. So I still like the 27 level here. Once again, and I think we say this about every day, for everyone just seems like to try and pick a bottom in gold. Well, bottom 26.58. You got risk reward here at the $27 level.
Let's go to a couple of the stocks that are in the news here. We had a couple companies report. FDO, which is Family Dollar, reported earnings here this morning. 65.30 is where it's trading at. So the numbers are $1.05 versus $1.03. Revenue came in line, 2.57 billion versus 2.57 billion. But they are popping this stock up to a new 52-week high, or approaching a new 52-week high. Actually, not quite there. We hit 65.82 back on. Just trying to grab the number there. My charts aren't working. 65.82.
Beat you to it. May 15th. Yep.
On the
Yep.
on
May
the
15th.
15th. What's the overnight high here, Joel? Have we sniffed up there yet?
Oh, Dennis, someone got real excited here. Fat Finger Freddy, 67, 67.50.
Holy cow! For real? Do you
Yep.
have a chart of that? Like to see that a little bit closer? Because I'd love to see what that looks
Sure.
like on the pre-market thing. 67.50.
Yeah.
That news algo running wild there again. Whoa! Yeah, there's the spike. So he got a little bit too excited there at 67.50. Freddie bought a little bit high there at 67.5. It's back to
It just,
reality, trading
yep.
65.23 right now, and is back below that number that we just cited, that 65.82. So I think that's still a key number here today.
Right, and after the spike and the dump down to just above 65, it did make another rally back up to the $66 level. So that's a good area to keep an eye on, at least off the open.
We got New Skin, NUS, raised guidance there last night. And this is your big winner on the day, actually. The stock is trading up $9 right now. They raised their Yeah, I know,
$9.
they raised their full year guidance significantly. They're seeing $4.85 to $5 now. Estimates were down at $4.29. They're seeing the full year revenue up at $2.83 billion to $2.86 billion. Estimates were down at $2.54 billion. So they're seeing a very good year here ahead for New Skin, and it is off to the races, making new highs here this morning, and up almost $9.
Hit the $76 level right on the kisser, and kind of looks. I mean, I don't know, up $9. I know you don't like the fade stocks like this, but 76 kind of looks like it's kind of a little bit of a rolling, a rolling top here as someone's exiting at that level. What's this, a new all-time high for the stock?
Yeah, as far as I
the
can go
stock.
back on my charts, unless it was, I'm going back to 2005, we weren't even close to that level. So it looks like, at a minimum, it's a new 9-year high here. So for New
You ever
Skin.
use that stuff?
No, you? Your wife
Yeah,
uses
I
it?
do.
What's that? What?
No, I think, unless this is like a different product, is if like you got, I'm probably speaking
What
out
are
of
you
order here,
using
but
that stuff for? You get new skin? Like, what's going on with that?
yeah, exactly. Like, let's say, your fingers or something get real dry and they get cracked or something like that.
You are
You know,
old,
it's
eh,
like,
Joel?
yeah,
You want to put new skin on your body.
I guess if that's what this company is. If not, I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Aging population. Maybe everybody, all the older people need
Yep.
new skin like Joel.
It's covered in Obamacare, so that's why it's getting
That's
popped.
what- Oh, let's go on. CLF actually announcing that their CEO will be stepping down at the end of the year, Joseph Caraba. And also BB&T liked that news after the bell, and they're upgrading the stock this morning. So CLF, a couple pieces of good news here. Here's a stock that actually has formed a pretty nice bottom area in this whole 15 to 15 and a half area, 1541 actually. Call the whole area 1550. It's been bottoming here for the better part of 2 weeks, trying to form a nice base. It is breaking out of that bottom today, 1710. So I think on pullbacks here, I think you're going to find some interested buyers.
The 17 levels interesting. You've hit 1688 on July 2nd. You hit 1683 on July 1st. Yesterday you hit 1687. So it's knocking on the door here, breaking out above 17. We did get a print up to 1718 in the pre-market. I'm not like a huge fan of, when CEOs leave. I mean, I don't know how much that changes the balance sheet, the next day. So 17 is the level to keep an eye on this one. The rest of the 17 handle doesn't have a lot of resistance points in it, but if you're playing it off the hop, you sure like to see it hold 17.
We do have Yum going to report earnings here tonight. YUM, which is Yum Brands, is trading down. You got to adjust it. It went ex-dividend last night too for 33 cents. So the adjusted close is now down at 72.66. So if you adjust that close down from where it closed, looking at 72.99, it actually closed now at 72.66. It's trading down a dime here, or 16 cents at 72.50. But obviously we'll report earnings here tonight, and some significant resistance up there at that 73.89 area.
Right. We've hit just bumped up against 74, that high of the move, 73.89. With it going ex-dividend, it's probably going to have a hard time getting up there today, knocking a few cents off it. I'd keep an eye for a support point here. The 2-day low at 72.20. We're not too far away from that, and got a gap to fill down there to 71.73. So 72 it's looking like a good level here in Yum Brands today.
We got Citigroup very active from the analysts here. Citigroup doing some upgrades and downgrades of some pretty big companies. Hewlett Packard, they are upgrading actually here this morning, which is HBQ. Actually, I fooled you. I went to Hewlett Packard before Amazon, but
Yeah, you're not following the script,
not
man.
following the script here. Do we have a script? I don't know if we ever had a script. Hewlett Packard upgraded at Citi. It is trading up significantly, 26.16 this morning after closing at 25.47. This is a breakout again for Hewlett Packard. I always kind of look at the chart of Best Buy, and I don't know why I track these two together, but Best Buy has just been marching, and Hewlett Packard hasn't participated in the last leg up in Best Buy. I wonder if this is going to kickstart it and get Hewlett Packard going.
Trading at 26.18 in the pre-market, up 69 cents. A little bit of volume associated with. I think this might be one of the occasions where you got some stock in the book that might hold it down to a reasonable level. I mean, it hasn't traded 26 and traded 25.87 on June 19th, and I think if you go longer term, I don't think this thing has been up anywhere near 27. You need to go back to the beginning of 2011. So this might be the one where you get the stock in the book to keep it a little bit lower of an open. Keep eye pre-market high 26.18.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see if it can open above 26 because I think that will be that key level here. Trading 26.20 right now, so who knows? Maybe the DMM opens it on the cheap for you, give you a shot to maybe take a shot at the long side if it comes down a little bit at the New York 9:30 open. Citigroup also initiating coverage of Amazon here this morning with the buy. That's obviously not an upgrade, just initiating coverage, so Amazon's not really responding too much to it, but it did make a new all-time high there yesterday, up at 292.57. Trading 291.41 right now here in the pre-market, but this Amazon has been quietly marching here for the better part of a couple of weeks. Do you think it can test this $300 level eventually?
I mean, so they're starting coverage of it now?
Yeah, yeah, they're just initiating coverage here with a buy, and they're saying their price target is 340. That's a little rich maybe for what I'm thinking, but I think the thing could see 300 here eventually.
Yeah, I mean, these stocks are tough. I mean, I don't know. Do you think like when the analyst walks in here and it says, hey, we're going to start covering this after a 30-point rally over the last month or so? I don't know. I think you'll be able to get it cheaper than 291.53 and 300 to psychological level, but that's about it as far as resistance goes.
The only thing is those big psychological levels often act like magnets too. Once you get so close, they want to take it up, get it through there, get everybody, oh, it's 300, it's going to 400, and then they go pile in, and the thing tops out like 303, 304, and then drops $25 or something like that. I often think that once they get close enough, like they get into the 290 area, or they get into that 90s, that they want to take it to that big even whole number. Obviously, I don't think it's going to get there today. The ranges have actually been pretty tight with Amazon. Usually only has a 3 or 4 point range, so from the chart it looks like it would take a good week or two to get there if it's going to go, but I think that 300 level could act like a magnet. We've also got Citigroup downgrading one of your favorite companies, Open Table, which is OPEN. They are downgrading it to sell. This was last night after the close, and the stock actually is down significantly here at 64.56. It just ticked to. I don't know. That seems a little bit overdone to me. Down 5% on this downgrade. Closed at 67.90. So regardless, Open Table looks like it's going to open weaker.
Yeah, it does. It's had a nice run up. Got near that $68 level. It's peeled back. Just looking at the pre-market low here, we hit 64.01, getting a little bounce on that. Let's go to the daily, see if we can find some support in this. You did have a low just above the $64 level just on Friday at 64.26. So I'd keep an eye on that. Below that $64 level, you got a 70-cent decline down to 63.31.
Let's bounce over to some of the big 10. You had hinted that we were going to talk about some key resistance levels in a lot of our top components in the S&P. The first one we may as well go to is Apple because it is back at that 420 level. It obviously
Look at
sold
that.
off for a couple days, then with a vengeance made a double bottom there yesterday. 410.38 was the low yesterday, and the low before that was 410.65. So I'll call that a double bottom. That's actually starting to look bullish here again here now, but every time it bumps up here, it
I
seems to
know.
fail. We need to get away from this 420 area, break out, and maybe we can make that march for the 440 because there is some air above here, but it is still right there at resistance.
Yeah, I was looking at this thing yesterday because sometimes when I play the weekly options, I like to get them, buy them when the stock is down, and I was waiting it to bust under 410 and shake some people out, and it never did. And then I just chased it the whole day, and at the end of the day, I saw it. I'm like, man, looking at this resistance level here, how many times do you see a bump up against a resistance level like this, and then you don't get long, and then
It
it
blows.
gaps higher?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you spend the whole day waiting for it to fill the gap. Well, that's not the case this morning, and it's trading down a little bit here. But if we can bust above this 423.50, and SPOOs look like it's giving it a little bit of help, I see a minor resistance point at 425.98. But Apple could quickly be back in that 430 handle. But I'm not going to fall in love with this trade. If it can't get above 423.50 here pretty quickly, it looks like I may be adding to a loser.
So that's your bogey, 423.50. We'll keep that
Yeah,
in mind if
yeah.
we're trading Apple here today. We've also got Exxon Mobil here bumping up against a high that it hit back on the 22nd of May. It hit
Yep, look at that.
actually, yeah, right on the kisser there, 93.50. Yesterday's high, 93.44. We'll call that whole area 93.50 major resistance. It is getting a running start out of you. I say when they close only 15 cents off those highs or so, that it is getting that running start.
And this is also we just go a little
Multi-year
bit
high.
longer. Yeah, multi-year highs here for ExxonMobil. So keep an eye on that 93.50 level. Above that, you got to figure there's some size at the three-quarters number 93.75 and 94. But good taking an opening into resistance along with the S&Ps and several other components.
I think that's a bad tick on the chart, the 117.20. It's never been a 96.12, I believe, is the all-time high in ExxonMobil, which was set back in May 31st, 2008. So there is resistance above this area. We have been up here before, but this is the first time we've been this high, and since the credit crisis back in 2008. So ExxonMobil approaching, if it can break out through that 93.50, approaching new multi-year highs. Also got Microsoft, same deal, looking at a double top, potential double
Yep.
top in Microsoft there too. If you look at the high from 2 days ago, it was 34.59. Yesterday's high was 34.60. Peeled back from that number a little bit here, trading down just a couple of cents this morning. What do you think?
Well, you have almost identical ranges. The highs were a penny apart, and the lows were a little bit more, 16 cents apart. But that 34.60 is going to be key. You break above that. You had a high on July 31st, or July 31st, July 1st at 34.99. So keep an eye on that 34.60 level. Hasn't been able to sniff it yet in the pre-market.
Another one, Johnson and Johnson, J&J. Another potential double top in that one too. If we look at the high from yesterday or 2 days ago, it was 88.99. Yesterday's high just above that at 89.08. Pulled back a bit, closed at 88.88. It had an interesting open yesterday. I was trading J&J off the open. I actually shorted it. I covered it. And then I turned around and bought it, and then I sold it. So I actually was trading J&J okay there yesterday. It eventually did take out that 89 level, which I was citing as resistance just towards the end of the day, and then pulled back.
Yeah, 88.88 is the all-time high close for Johnson and Johnson. Above that double top there, 89.99, 89.08. You have the all-time high at 89.99. So keep an eye on that 89.10 level.
Let's just fly through a couple of these other resistance levels here because you got
Okay.
Procter and Gamble kissing up against a key $80 level. Just looking back at the charts here, it's been a while. It's been about I'm just trying to grab it here. Actually, it's been about a month since it's been back up this 80. But some institution has cited that as the level they want out at. I see over 200,000 shares being offered at 80, and you know those high frequency guys are aware of that 200,000 seller is there, and they'll probably be leaning in the 79.90s. So obviously you'll see some high frequency resistance in the 79.90s at least off the hop. Also, Wells Fargo, I'm kicking myself on this one, got up there, touched 43 bucks actually yesterday. I believe actually 43 was the high. I'm showing a high of 43.08, but I don't think that's the case. That must have been after our pre-market high because I got the high and it opened right at 43 on the money and actually went straight down from there. I sold the high and then I got nervous that some of these other banks were strong and I actually covered it way too soon because the stock went down straight down 75 cents. Remember it was like downgraded? Wasn't it downgraded yesterday? And then it
Yeah.
actually opened up. So I always like it when that happens. And it was a nice setup and I got short. I did everything right and all the other banks being so strong right off the hop shook me out. And then we had a little bit of bad bank news, and that really knocked a lot of them down just briefly. So as Wells Fargo comes back to that whole 43 level, if it does today, I think you'll see major resistance there once again.
Yeah, that's it's really been shrugging off those downgrades. So making a nice move, keeping an eye on the $43 level.
I'll cite the forward level again too. Just we've been talking about that $17 level, still that million shares kicking around up there. So you're seeing some pretty major resistance in the 1690s for forward. You had the high 2 days ago, 1693. The high yesterday, 1694. That's again short-term traders leaning on that big $17 level. So
Yep, and though just going back to the S&P here, we've had a little bit of a rally.
yeah, we're now only trading down a quarter of a point here. I think you're going to see pretty muted activity here until we, obviously hear from the Fed minutes there at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I think you're going to see it quiet before that. Obviously, we can get some volatility depending on what the commentary looks like from those minutes after 2 o'clock, but I think it could be pretty quiet before then.
Yep, and once again that major resistance level, 1649 is holding up. Coming on the downside, 1641 has been the low in the pre-market. You really don't have any major support under that until you get to yesterday's low at 1635 and a half.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading session, and we'll be back at you tomorrow morning.